Hey folks, it's John with KGTropicals.com bringing you another episode of KGQanda. We are answering your questions sent into that email address right there. Get your questions in now and you might just see them answered in this series. Quick update, I have not done anything about setting up the YouTube studio yet. A lot of people have been asking about that. Haven't been able to coordinate a time with the amount of people that I'm going to need to help me get these tanks down into the basement. Haven't been able to put all that together yet. It takes a few people to do this. It's a tight staircase. It's a heavy tank, 2 heavy tanks. So haven't been able to coordinate that yet, but it is absolutely something that is still in the works and it will happen very soon and you will see an update on it. So I apologize that it's taken so long, but you know, you add that to the computer problems we were having before and that is why you have not seen an update for that yet. So let's move on to the first question of the day from Jeff Remerza. Longtime fan, love what you do, both your web series and your store. I'm also a member of the KGTropicals 2 clan and loving it. Clash of Clans reference. I actually only got the game because you said you played. Anyways, my question is about a concern I'm currently having. Now let me just say something real quick, Jeff. Hopefully you're in the right clan because there's 2 KGTropicals 2 clans. One of them is ours and the other one is an imposter. I don't want to talk about it. So as long as it's all lowercase KGTropicals and the number 2, and if the leader is Brock, then you're good to go, and that is the right clan to be in. The other one only has a couple of members, so it shouldn't be too hard to figure out. Anyway, let's move on. I have an Eheim 2217 canister filter. I keep it well maintained and clean it about every 2 months, but the hoses for intake and outtake are filthy. Not clogged, but semi-transparent, and I can see that the inner walls are covered in nasty stuff. And since the hoses are so long I can't clean it with a wire brush, what would you do? Okay. I bought at a pet store, I don't know how long ago, a long time ago, a filter cleaning kit. And this is a canister filter cleaning kit. And what it came with, I don't have one to show you. What it came with was it was almost like a miniature chimney sweep. If you know what a chimney sweep looks like, it's a brush on the end of a long pole. Well, that's what this was. The rod was probably 1.5 feet long and it had a little brush on the end, a round brush. And you could actually attach longer rods to it to make it like 5 feet long. Cost me like 15 bucks. I bought it at a pet store called House of Tropicals up in Baltimore, Maryland, one of the best pet stores I've ever been to. Thank God they're not close to us because nobody would come here if they were. But that's where I found it, and that's a fish store that sells a lot of things that you wouldn't typically find at a local pet store. They're a huge store, and they sell filter parts and you know, they sell things like impellers and even the little clips that hold your bio wheels on. I mean, they sell everything there, and they had it there. If you don't live anywhere near Baltimore, then you might want to go ahead and do a search for it online. It worked really well for me, but at the same time, I don't think that nastiness that's in the hoses is really going to hurt anything. If it got to a point where it was clogging you up, then you definitely want to do something about it. But other than it looking unsightly, I don't think it's a huge problem. It's just more area for beneficial bacteria to grow, so it's not a huge deal, but I understand if you want to clean it because I myself did that a few years ago. Michael McShane, our fish depend on power companies to stay alive. In case of power outage, what is the best way to deal with an extended power outage? And then he goes on to suggest in another email, because Michael's a friend of mine and he can send me as many emails as he wants, he suggested I make a video all about handling power outages in fish keeping, and it's a great idea, and it's something that I probably will do because I get a lot of questions about it. So being that I'm going to go ahead and do a video about it, I'm not going to go into too much detail, but the biggest thing is keep water moving. So if you can get your hands on one of those battery operated air pumps, you're gold. You should be fine. Now your tank, I think you have a 150, so you might want to get a couple of air pumps. Have them sitting somewhere in reserve in case the power does go out. You can put some batteries in there, hook them up, and instantly get that water moving. Now, it's not going to filter your water as well as your regular filters would. If you really want to go to extremes, maybe put a couple of sponge filters in there, hooked up to your battery-operated air pumps, and you'll be fine. It's not ideal, but it'll get you through the power outage. I had an outage years ago, and I lived in a little old farmhouse. The power was out for 6 days. I borrowed a generator from a friend of mine. Thank God he was willing to let me borrow it. His power was on, so he didn't need it. I hooked up my refrigerator, my television, a window unit air conditioner, and my fish tanks. And so my tanks ran fully. Lights were on and everything because I had a generator to run them. Generators are expensive, not everybody has them, and they're really loud. Can't put them in your living room. So get yourself some battery operated air pumps, and that will definitely save a lot of hassle for you, and it'll save your fish's lives. But I like your suggestion about doing a video, and so maybe I will do that in the future, as if I don't have enough videos to already make. Okay, Doug Spencer. First, I'd like to say I love the channel, and I've probably seen every video. That's very nice of you, thank you. My question is, I have one male orange shoulder, that's what I was told they were by the previous owner, and 5 females. I've had them about a couple weeks, and I've done every tip on trying to spark breeding, while my females just follow the male and huddle around him in the tank. Any idea of why they do this? Thanks in advance for all your help, and keep up the good work. Okay, now you sent me this on January 28th, so you probably figured out this problem by now. Hopefully your fish have spawned, and you've got a bunch of fry that are a couple of months old already. Answer your question of why they're doing that. They're schooling. They're getting along. Everybody's happy. They're hanging out together. Nothing to be concerned about at all. You had them a couple of weeks and you're frustrated that they haven't spawned yet. After 2 weeks, I wouldn't be frustrated because it's been 2 weeks. You know, I mean, you moved them into a new home. You got to let them get settled in and let them do their thing. Anyone who buys adult fish and you're expecting them to breed in the first 2 weeks, you are a little bit too anxious. Settle down, let them get comfortable, and they will do their thing. And again, you sent me this well over 2 months ago. I'm sure they've done something by now. Hopefully they have. But don't be alarmed if they haven't done anything in the first 2 weeks. And if they're hanging out together, consider that a good thing, because most people email me asking me why their fish keep fighting. So the fact that they're hanging out is not a problem. Okay. Andrew, it's going to be either Sake or Sake. Sake? I don't know. But I'm just going to call him Andrew. First off, I've got to say I'm a huge fan of your channel, and I am especially enjoying the KGQanda series. Thank you very much. So am I. My question is about feeding fry. I know you've talked about feeding extreme to all your fish, and bonas and peacocks alike. But is that also true for the fry? If so, do you crush it down to a powder or what? I've been seeing a lot of people recommend hatching baby brine shrimp, but I don't know if that would be worth the effort. Thanks so much for sharing your knowledge and experience in the community. I would not be where I am in this hobby if it were not for the information you have provided. Thank you, sir. Okay, let's get into your question here. Hatching baby brine shrimp is a lot of fun. It's also a big hassle. If you're doing it in a big way, like you've got 10, 12 fry tanks, it can be a huge hassle because you have to constantly be doing it. But if you're just trying to feed a batch or two of fry and you want to hatch on brine shrimp, it's kind of fun. They're sea monkeys, that's all they are. If you're young, I can't tell by looking at your picture. If you're a young person, you have no idea what sea monkeys are, but you know, it's fun to hatch them. It's not overly complicated. You can do it with simple things like empty water bottles and stuff like that. Not a big deal to do it. But if you want to do it the easy way, just crush up some flakes or crush up some pellets. Doesn't necessarily need to be in powder form. See, these fry, they're very small, but they're not stupid. I mean, their instinct is they want to eat. That's what they want to do. So if the pellets are small, they can pick out them. You know what I'm saying? They don't have to be to where the fish can consume the whole thing in one bite, I guess is what I'm trying to say. A little thing that I learned a while back, I was talking to a fish farm, and they throw 9mm pellets, big honkin' pellets. They throw a few of those into their fry tanks at every feeding. Big pellets. And what happens is the fry all swarm down around there and they pick at those big pellets. That's the way that farm does it. I've never done it that way, but they feed them a food that is, well, extreme. It's the extreme food, and extreme is, I don't want to call it soft because then you're going to think it's going to just turn into mud and cloud up your water. It doesn't do that at all. But it's a softer food. It's not like a rock hard pellet. So the fry can go down there and kind of peck at it, and it's kind of neat to watch. I've done it, but I don't do it. I don't practice that, but I've seen it done, and it works out pretty good. So you can do that, or you can just crush up flake food. Don't worry about how fine you grate it. Just crush it in your fingers real good and throw it down in there, and you'll see that your fish will eat it and they'll be fine. When we had our fish at the house, we had 120 tanks at the house, breeding 27 different kinds of fish. We didn't have time to mess around with hatching brine shrimp. After we got to like 12 fry tanks, it was just too much. So we just started crushing up flakes, and they did really well on that. I think they did just as well as when we were giving them brine shrimp. All right, Peter Liu. I'm wondering if crossbreeding occurs in nature, and if one purchases African cichlids that are wild caught, does that mean the fish will definitely be a true breed, or there's a chance of getting a hybrid also? There's two questions here, so I'm going to address that one first. If you're buying it from a reputable dealer, even though it's wild caught, whoever caught that fish is going to be able to identify it. You're not just getting some fisherman with a fishing pole caught something and said, I'll send that to a pet store. It doesn't work that way. These companies are professional companies that are pulling fish out of the lake, and they can definitely identify them. So if you believe in the place that you're buying your fish from, then you shouldn't be concerned as to whether they actually are what they say they are. Now let's get into the next question. I see more experienced hobbyists stress the importance of not crossbreeding and passing on hybrids to other hobbyists. If you believe that's a good practice, then what would you do with the female if the female has bred with another breed? Strip the eggs right away so the female doesn't go through starvation, let the eggs or fry become snacks later. The reason I ask is I've seen some spawning activity between a red zebra and a yellow lab in my tank. I don't have very much time. We're already at 12 minutes to get into this with you, Peter, but I'm going to be brief. I have a video out there called African Cichlid Hybrids, Love Them or Hate Them. I express my views in that video. I think it's one of my top 10 videos as far as the amount of views it's had. I do have a very strong opinion on this topic. I don't kill fish. That's just me. I don't kill them. You know, have you ever heard of anybody whose lab bred with a German Shepherd and the owner killed all the puppies? I mean, don't talk to me about, oh, it's not the same with dogs as it is fish. Maybe it is to you, but it's not to me. And I'm not saying you, Peter. I'm saying whoever's telling me that. Maybe it's the same to you, but it's not to me. I consider these things to be little lives. I think every life is precious, and I think every life deserves a chance. I don't care if it's a mix between a yellow lab and a red zebra. That's going to make a pretty nice looking fish. So that's the way I believe. I mean, now, this whole bunch of garbage about spreading it throughout the hobby, I mean, come on. Do you really think that your tank at home is going to affect the masses? The whole hobby is going to get destroyed because of your red zebra and your yellow lab? No, that's not going to happen. I don't buy into that from anybody. I think anyone who is over the top concerned about that is taking this just a little bit too seriously, and they think that they're a little bit too smart. These are little lives. They deserve to be given a chance. If you want to prevent it, don't mix your fish together. You know, I mean, if it's a huge concern with you, and I know it doesn't appear that it's a huge concern, you're just wanting to know. If it's a big enough concern for you, then, you know, you got to make sure you don't have males and females mixed together of different breeds. I mean, that way it doesn't happen. But your question was more, what do I do? I don't kill fish. I don't believe in it. I think it's wrong, and that's just me. But I know a lot of people are different than me, so I'm not, you know, I'm not going to tell you that people are stupid if they do it, but I believe the practice is stupid. Does that make much sense? To me, it's stupid. I wouldn't do it, but if you do it, whatever. It's just like smoking cigarettes. I don't smoke cigarettes, but I'm not going to dislike a person because they do. You know, I mean, I don't drink alcohol, but I hang out with a lot of people who do. I mean, people are different. We all have different views. I have mine. Mine are very strong, and they might be different from the masses, but that's fine with me because I believe what I believe. So I don't kill fish. That's just what I do. So if you want to prevent it, just make sure there's not males and females together. And please, if your lab breeds with a German Shepherd, don't kill the puppies. Wouldn't that be mean? Don't do that. It's ridiculous. Never heard of anybody doing that. All right. We are getting deep in here today, and it's already been 15 minutes. I've run my mouth long enough. I want to thank all of you for watching this. This series has been a lot of fun, and these videos are getting a lot of views, and I really appreciate that. It means a lot to me. All these questions coming in, it really does mean a lot, and I appreciate it very much. And I will make sure I get a whole bunch of these taped for you so that you can see your questions answered in this series. Thank you all so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.